it's freaking hot out here at the tiny house. There's no AC. It's almost in the 90s already. Drenched sweat. Let's get some AC up in this bitch. Alright guys, it's freaking hot. I need to clean this out, get an AC unit put in here, get a bed built, get this room completely finished. So I'm gonna go ahead and take all this stuff out right now. Boom. Look at that, it's clean. Alright guys, so got it all clean. This is a tiny little room here. It's roughly 7 by 8 on the inside. And as you can tell, there's still stuff out there, but one project at a time. I'm learning that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish up this room, try to get it done. But for now, guys, it's hot, like I said in the beginning of this video. Let's put an AC unit into this window. I've never been a huge fan of window units, but I think that's gonna be a perfect fit out here since it's super off-grid. Small window unit should do this room big time, but I got one big enough to do the whole house. So let's take it out of the box, put it in, all that cool stuff, and let's get some AC up in here for the first time. Whew, in a long time. Alright guys, so here we got this AC unit. I got it from Lowe's for $229, and it does 250 square feet. I'll put a link down in the description if you want this exact one, if you like this video, and it does well enough. I don't know yet. So let's cut it open. I'll kind of unbox it, do all that stuff. This is not going to be a crazy video as far as like the tech stuff goes with this, because I don't freaking know. But all I want to know is, can I run this off my Jackery? And if so, how long would it last? So that's what I care about. It's got instructions, some foam stuff. This is the part that goes into the window. Bracket, styrofoam, plastic, and the AC unit. Alright, so these are kind of open like that. Probably goes in there like that. And hook this on. So I'm going to pull this all the way out, slide it in these grooves. And then stick it in these brackets like that. Stick it in there like that. Alright, we're going to take the window out, or the screen out. It's actually starting to rain a little bit outside. So I'm going to go ahead and put this through here. Clearly not falling out. Close the window. I wanted to make sure it actually fit good before I put the weather stripping on. So I'm going to put that on real quick. And then I think we'll be good to go. Alright, so I'm going to put this foam down here in the bottom. Tuck it in. And then this strip, clean that off. It'll go here. Now that I know it fits, let's put it in. And these will come over here to the edge. Come over here. Alright, so I got the Jackery. It's got 90% battery. Like I showed you, it has a light hooked up, and that is it. There's nothing else than the AC unit. So we're going to see if it'll run this AC unit, if it'll even turn on, if it'll run it, and then I'm going to let it do the whole house. And if it's having trouble after a while because the insulation and stuff still isn't done in there, then I'll put like a sheet of something over the door and just do this room. Because guys, if you can't tell, I'm just sweating my butt off. So let's see if this works. I think it'll work, but let's see how long it'll work. Alright guys, so before I start doing this, I did get this Jackery a long time ago, and they just basically gave it to me for free. I did some videos, whatever, for it. I am not affiliated with them whatsoever. This is just an honest thing if it works. So far, I love this Jackery. The USB ports and all that are complete garbage. They all broke on me within like the first couple of months. Everything else has worked great. I've used this for over a year. But I've never used it on something this big, so we'll see if it works. I'm going to go ahead and hit the reset button on here, make sure there's nothing going on. And I'm going to go ahead and plug it in right here, and let's see if it'll power up. It did. It flickered the light a little bit, so I'm sure whenever I turn this on, it's probably going to have a little trouble. So let's go ahead and hit power. I'm going to see how much it'll pull. Right now it's pulling 18 watts with this and the light so far, which isn't bad, honestly. For starting this sucker, it already feels good. Let's pull this off. Oh man, that feels great. This is the first AC I've had out here since beginning this. Talk about amazing. Oh my gosh. So it's pulling 80 watts right now, 86 watts. So I'm going to bring you in closer, show you this. Right now, let's see, I have it on eco mode, it's on auto, it's on cool, and it's set to 70. So, so it just kicked on. It's really kicking on now. Now it's pulling a lot. All right, let me show you closer. It's pulling right here. 300, let's see if we can get that. 385 watts. You should be able to see that right here at the bottom. 385 watts, it looks like it's peaking at that, so that's not that bad. So just to prove to you again, it's just the Jackery hooked up into this, and then we got this cord right here to this light. There is nothing else connected to it, so it just kind of is what it is. It's pulling 381 watts. It's gone down to 89%, but I don't even know how far into 90% it was. So I'm going to time this. I'm going to run it for 10 minutes, and I'm going to see how much the power will go down on that. But you also have to take into consideration no AC at all is going on in here until this. So it's hot. I'm sweating my butt off in here. So it's going to take a while. So I'm assuming it's going to take a little bit of power. It's at 402 watts right now, so it's kicking on a little bit colder. So again, I'm going to let it run for 10 minutes and see how much the power goes down. Alright guys, it's been 10 minutes to show you again. It's just a light hooked up right here to the Jackery, and then got the AC. It's to 70, it's still going. Again, this is doing the whole house right now. It's about 220-ish square feet, and this thing's supposed to be able to do 250, so it's pretty close to pushing the max. And I have no idea what the temperature is inside. I should have bought a thermometer, but I didn't. So let's check this out. It looks like it's pulling a lot of watts and power. It's down to 77%, and it's 540 average, 540 watts that it's pulling. So it's definitely eating through the battery of this, but to take into consideration that it's doing the whole house, and it was just already super hot in here. So the fact that it's pulling that right now, I'm not too worried about. It's once it's actually cooled down and this thing can slow down and not work so hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off the Jackery, I'm going to hook it up to my generator, and I'm going to charge the Jackery back up as high as I can get it, hopefully 100%, and then hopefully by night I can just run it all night and see what happens, run it till it's dead, and see how long it'll last. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is hook it up to the generator. I'll show you guys that, and then hook this up and charge the Jackery instead of the solar panels at first. Alright guys, I got my generator cable coming in. I got it coming over here, and I plugged in my light that goes right there. I plugged in my Jackery power that goes right there, and I plugged the AC unit right there. So I'm going to let it run off the generator for a while, try to cool the house down. I'm going to try to get this sucker to turn off at 70 degrees inside. It's upper 80s today, so it's going to take a minute for it to cool down. It's going to charge the Jackery right now, and then hopefully I can get that, you know, closer to 100 or whatever it may be, as high as I can get it before it gets dark. Then I'll plug this back into the Jackery and run that and see how long I can run the AC unit off the Jackery. So far it's doing amazing. It's just sucking the power because it's got to stay on constantly. If you guys know anything about AC units, it's supposed to turn on, get it down to that temperature, turn off, and then it's got eco mode and all that. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is let it just cool the house down, charge the Jackery, and then we'll get back on it once that's done. Alright guys, so this is actually the next day. I charged this up, but then I had to use it. So it's at 74%. I turned this bad boy on. It's just kind of doing the fan. I have it on auto. It got down to 73 degrees, in the whole house. I'm not covering up the doorway or anything. So it's the whole 220 square feet that it's doing. So it's at 74%. It's pulling 88 watts. It's just kind of doing the fan right now. It'll kick on, kick off, kick on, kick off. And so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to let it run until this gets really, really low or a good amount of time. I'm going to time it, and then we'll be able to see how long this Jackery will last. So while this goes for a minute, let's go look at the baby rabbits for a little bit, and then we'll come back. Look at the baby rabbits, guys. They're doing awesome. They're getting big. So we got the big rabbits right here. They're actually pretty calm. You can pet them and stuff. But I'm going to pull out. They're sleeping, but I'll pull out a couple of them so you can kind of see. Look how much bigger they are than they were the other day. Their eyes are not open yet, but they'll be opening soon. But they are doing really, really well. They're doing really good, guys. I really like this one, more that brownish gray color. They're doing great. Again, this is not my ideal situation for them. I'm going to do a much bigger area. I'm going to do the colony style, and so I'm pretty pumped with the babies doing well. It is getting hot. That was kind of one of my concerns, but they're doing awesome. I have a bunch of hay in there, you know, that way they can kind of eat some of it if they want, but then they're kind of, I don't know, getting on a little bit. They kind of just scratch through it and stuff, and then I clean it out, and then I literally have a whole little raised garden bed full of rabbit poop. I mean, tons. So I'm gonna work on that on another day, but for now, let's go back and check on the AC. Alright guys, so basically I ran this down to 1%. It didn't take that long, to be completely honest. I was running a LED light. It's pulling 16 watts, so it's really not pulling a whole lot, so I'm not going to really take that too much into consideration. But I do have solar panels over here. I have 2 of them. I didn't have those plugged in either. These are 100 watt panels each, so it's 200 watts that it can pull in. Realistically, it only pulls about 30 to 40 watts per panel, realistically. And then this was pulling somewhere around, I think it was like 300-ish watts, and then when it really kicked on, it went up to like 600, somewhere around there, when it had to kick on, kick off, kick on, kick off. And again, this was for my entire tiny house. If I were to close off the door right here, it's something like 60 square feet, somewhere around that, for the bedroom right here. If there was a door right there, this sucker would cool it down and turn off a lot better. This would run a lot better, so it wouldn't have to stay on the whole time. And this ceiling in there is not finished yet, so it's not fully insulated, and so there is, you know, spots that would basically affect that. So I know you guys are wondering, well, how long did it actually run the AC? I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. It ran it for probably about 3 or 4 hours, because this was on a constant cycle. It never really turned off. It would turn off for just a brief second and then turn right back on. It is just something that I knew would happen with the ceiling in there not being done and doing the whole house itself. And plus, it's literally almost 100 degrees outside. So it did cool the house down in here to about 73, somewhere around there. I am sweating because I was outside doing stuff and I just came in, and then I turned this off. But it actually feels pretty good in here. If you're outside and you come inside, it's a huge difference. I do have 6-inch insulated walls, so that makes a huge difference. But I am very pleased with this running the AC unit as much as it did. So really and truly at night, if I wanted to run this for maybe an hour or two, or even charge up the Jackery all the way and just run it at night, I go to sleep, I turn it on, and I just pass out. It'll die during the night, but it'll stay comfortable enough all night that it'll be perfectly fine. I'll be able to sleep good. I didn't expect it to run non-stop all the time on this Jackery. I don't expect the AC to be running all the time in the house, period. I wasn't going to do that in the first place unless for some strange reason it powered it perfectly fine. Now, a good test would be to hook this panel up, or both of them, to the Jackery in full sunlight and then have it running. It would pull roughly about 100 watts with both of these going, and it pulls roughly 300 when it's just kind of running but without pulling too much of the energy full blast. So it would only be losing about 200 watts. So I'll do another video on that later. So I just wanted to find out, if you had a Jackery, could you run an AC unit off-grid, fully off-grid, not hooked up to any power grid or anything like that? And the answer is yes, and it works fairly well. So depending on how big your room is, this thing would do fairly well. And I'm pretty confident, and I'll try it later, that if I put a door on here, or at least blocked it off, this thing would last for several hours, a lot longer than it did before. So it could potentially run all night if it stays cool, turns off, turns on, that type of thing. I think it might do that. So that'll be another test. But if you need an AC unit in a pinch and you have a Jackery, it can run it. And then also the gas generator I have is a 3500 Predator from Harbor Freight. It runs that easy, and I mean easy. So I'm going to do a test with that as well. I fill it up with gas, and I'll run it as long as I can run it. I think I could probably get about 8 hours on a tank of gas in the generator, running the AC full blast the whole time. So that's not even that bad either. But hopefully this video helps some of you guys out if you're off-grid, or if you went through, the power surge and all that stuff, where a lot of people lost power. This Jackery can run an AC unit, and this is the 1,000 watt version. They actually have a new 1,500 watt, and that would probably run it even better. Well, I know it'd run it even better. So again, I am not associated with Jackery at all. I'm not associated with the AC units. I'm not associated with none of this. I'm just a dude living off grid that hasn't had AC in a year and a half. So this was an awesome thing. Hopefully this helped you guys out. See you in the next one.